as a movie, and everyone's watching. So let's get to the good part and past all the nonsense. So tell us how to do the right thing when the pressure's coming down like lightning.
Okay, I'm going to start with a short explanation about standard and non-standard language. A standard language is a variety of language that is used by governments, in the media, in schools, and for international communication. There are different standard varieties of English in the world, such as North American English, Australian English, and Indian English. Although these standard varieties differ in terms of their pronunciation, there are a few differences in grammar between them. In contrast, there are non-standard forms of a language that are used, for example, in different regional dialects, and these non-standard varieties are different from each other. Standard and non-standard overview. Standard refers to common words, and non-standards refers to slang, jargon, dialectal words, absolute words, and idiomatic expressions. Um, Standard and non-standard examples. For example, I know is not has no is end, and very good is cool, and to play a trick is to pull one's leg, and you all is jol. How we can use standard and non-standard correctly and effectively. Okay, standard academic writings, in business letters, in job application, in emails, or in writing. Non-standard in journal entries and personal letters and narratives, emails, and in spoken. I'm going to continue with an example about non-standard language. These expressions are called idioms, and idioms are phrases which people use in everyday language, which don't make sense literally, but we understand what they mean. We have some examples here in this image. I know London like the back of my hand. In this expression, the meaning is to have a good and detailed knowledge of something. Why do we have they? No one really knows why they exist or where they all began, but every culture seems to have their own idioms or expressions. The English language has so many of them. The origin of idioms. Most of idioms come from ancient literature or even classic films. Many idioms originated of quotation from well-known writers such as Shakespeare. Learning the backgrounds of idioms can help you to remember them. As we can see in this puzzle, there are more examples about idiomatic expressions. For example, drive me crazy, put a wig, watch out. And there are some expressions that people use in in a specific context, and it's important to use and to know this kind of expressions in order to have a wide vocabulary, because we need to acquire new vocabulary, and idioms should be used in proper situation. They enrich our speech and increase our vocabulary. The grammar and the vocabulary of the idioms are fixed, and if we change them, we lose the meaning of the idiom. I'm going to explain how people use these kind of expressions. For example, John and your own shadow means to be over frightened. John of the page means something that stands up. On the rocks means a relationship experience problems. Lovely doubly means making an excessive displays of affection. There are body idioms. For example, my flesh and blood means relative. Food idioms. Split the beams means reveal the truth. Sag like hotcakes, both many people. Animal idioms. For example, catnap is a short sleep. Copycat, a person who does the same thing as someone else. Chicken out, to decide not to do something out of fear, usually just before. Idioms with time, for example, from time to time, I read the newspaper for the time to time. I kill the time, I just kill the time until my mother arrives. A little fun and games. Idioms can be quite fun and useful too when writing. They are a good use of imaginary when trying to describe aptitudes, behavior, and when you are trying to draw your reader attention to a point you feel is important to your work. For example, when use the idiom, he was beating a dead horse. You might be pointing out the uselessness of politician promises if the issues are no longer relevant. Funny English idioms, for example, when pigs fly, or it's raining cats and dogs. These kind of idioms are used in every country, and as a translator, you need to analyze this expression in order to have a to make a good translation. Thank you very much for your attention, and that's all. And I'm going to show you a video who explain this kind of idioms. I think that is very important as in order to acquire a new vocabulary.
Chapter 1 Lazy Husband. Honey, can we eat out today?
Let's just save money by eating in tonight. I'm tired.
Can you help me in the kitchen, please?
I have my hands full.
Dinner is ready.
It's about time. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
Dig in.
Finished. Now I'm thirsty. Get me a cup of joe.
Oops.